Hello and welcome to Backyard Maintenance. Today we're going to be doing some trailer seals, so stick around. So the other day I got out here and I was looking at this and that doesn't look too good. So we're going to fix it. So a real neat trick. If you got some dual axles and some of these ramps, no need for a jack. Take off your lug nuts. Come on, man. Oh, you fucker. Chisel usually works pretty good for this job. You know, if you got a used old one or something. There we go. Alright, so next you're going to have a pin here that we're going to have to take out in order to get this castle nut off. Alright, this guy you want to straighten out as much as possible just to get through the castle nut. Come on, baby. Alright, next you're going to back this nut off. That's off. Alright, get yourself like a little pick or something like that. And you're going to come in here and you're going to grab, there should be a washer. See? So the next thing to come out should be the bearing. There we go. See? The thing we want to look for when we repack the bearings is you know, any blue marks or anything like that. You want to make sure there's no flat spots. So this one looks pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the whole hub off. What we want to do is we want to pull it off evenly, and what I mean by that is we don't want it tilted down or up. We want it coming off perfectly straight. Okay, give it a little bit of a wiggle. The next thing we want to do is just kind of clean this whole shaft up here, get all the grease off, and we want to do a little bit of an inspection. Okay,
so the part I left out here by accident was I wanted to mention you want to look for any bluing of the metal, which would indicate very high heat damage. The other thing you want to check for is just marks in the axle there. You just want to make sure that whole thing is perfectly smooth.
So the next thing I'm going to do is take a measurement and see what size seals we're going to need. All right, so I got this little measuring tool, and it does inches and millimeters. We're going to turn it on. We're going to be, this is set on millimeters, so we want to change it to inches. Now we're in inch mode. I'm going to measure this axle. So what we want to measure for the seal is this guy up here. You want to in between, like right in the middle. And now we'll take that off. And I've got 1.723. So that is actually the inside diameter of your seal. This one is very close to 1.719. So this is the seal we need for this. So this is the one we're going to use. Next thing we're going to do is pull this seal out. So there's many ways of getting seals out. I prefer a seal puller. Just like that, your seal is out. Next thing we're going to do is take this bearing out and clean her up. Again, you want to look for any signs of bluing on the metal, which there is none on this. And you also want to look for flat spots on the rollers here, which these all look good as well. Next thing we're going to do is clean up the inside of this. We want to get all this stuff out. It's a fun job, said no one ever. I want to talk about the race. It's this part right here. If you don't know what a race is, basically what a race is, it's a wear part that can be replaced. It is what the bearing rides on, okay? The bearing goes in here, and those little rollers roll on the inside of this race right here, okay? So if you ever get to the point where this is blue, or you know there's marks in this right here, you can take the race out and replace it. instead of replacing the whole drum. So like I said, a race is basically just a wear part that you can remove and replace if needed. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some parts cleaner, some brake clean or carb clean, and I'm going to try and get the remaining grease out of these wheel bearings. Make sure you wear safety glasses and all that good stuff too. Alright, you got to get these as clean as you can. They're not going to be 100% unless you got like a parts washer. So what we're going to do next is we're going to pack these bearings, and I'm going to show you how these get packed. Okay, so right here what we want to look for when we're going to pick our wheel bearing grease is we want the one that says NLGI grade 2. Grade 2 is for wheel bearings. This is what you want to look for. It should have a little square just like this. It says wheel bearings and all that good stuff. So that's what you're looking for. All right, so next what you're going to do is get yourself on the palm of your hand here a good scoop, and we're going to take the back side, this side right here, and we're going to push down into that, right? Keep pushing down into that until it starts to come up through the top. I'm going to keep taking small little chomp. I'm pushing it in, okay? Pushing it in, right? See how it's starting to come up through the needles there? You see that? That's a packed bearing. So this video is going to go out of order for a minute. I almost forgot to put the wheel bearing in first. So what you want to do is put your wheel bearing in first and then put the seal in. This is the back side of the drum. And you see how the seal's a little different on either side. We want to go in like this. And to make this job a little easier, I've got a seal installation kit here. We're going to be using this guy today, right here, that guy. So this will go into here like that. And then I lost my other thing, but basically my other screw, bolt, whatever you want to call it. And we'll screw this on. And this is what we're going to use to hammer the seal in. Now, if you don't have something like this, you can use like a big socket, but you got to make sure it's the right size, or else you're going to cause some damage. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put the wheel bearing back in. Don't forget to put the wheel bearing back in. All right, so put your wheel bearing back in. Make sure it is facing the correct direction. Just like that. All right, that wheel bearing is now in. What I like to do is I like to take a little bit of grease before I put the seal in. I just kind of like to go around the edges. It gives it something to kind of, a little lubrication to help it ease it in. All right, I'm going to set this guy just like down here, just like that. Like I said, make sure you get your wheel bearing in, or else you're going to have a bad day. All right, we want slow taps. Nice, and we want it nice and even. You'll hear that sound difference. There we go. We're in with a new seal. The next thing I want to do is I want to put some grease around the inside of this new seal, because when we go to put it on the spindle, axle, whatever you want to call it, we don't want this rubber part to tear or anything like that. We want it to glide on nice and easy. So this next part I've seen a little debate on. I like to kind of give my axle here a little bit of a coating. Some people say it's not necessary or it's not needed, but I don't really care. That's how I want to do it. It's my trailer. Do your own thing if you want. I don't really care. Main thing is you want to get some grease up on this lip up here, because that's where the new seal is going to be going on. And you just want to make sure it rides on nice and easy. Now, it's very important when you go to put this back on that you put it on so it's not tilted in one direction or the next. First of all, make sure you get your seal in there. And you want to go on perfectly straight, okay? Now you can give it a little bit of a wiggle as it goes on. That'll help that seal to get on there, okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our wheel bearing on. Okay? And we're going to try and push into as far as possible. And then we're going to get our washer. Put the washer on. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is the castle nut. That was a good one. Somebody must have got a deer. Almost sounds like black powder. Do yourself a favor. Don't buy friggin' gloves at Harbor Freight. They're shit. The next thing you want to do is we're going to want to torque this down to seat those wheel bearings. Usually about 50 foot-pounds is good. And then from there, we'll loosen it off a little bit until this wheel spins freely. Alright, I got this bad Larry set up for 50 foot-pounds. Take it nice and slow. This is just so we can seat those bearings. Alright, right there. That's 50 foot-pounds. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen her up a little bit. We're going to loosen it until this wheel starts to spin freely without catching. What I'm going to do is, before I put the cap on, I'm going to put the tire on, and I'm going to kind of rock it back and forth and see what kind of play we got with it. Okay, now I'm just going to see. Yeah, there's no play. See how the tire does. I'll probably loosen that up just a little bit more. See, now we have no problem with that wheel spinning. Okay. Try not to get dirt in there. And my play in the wheel is really good. There's not really any play. All right. So now what we're going to do, straighten out this cotter pin the best you can. We're going to put this cotter pin back in, and then we're going to put our dust cap back on. Make sure this pin seats down in there. Ready? Pull this guy. Oh, you know what? Even if you got to take a pair of hammers, a pair of pliers, and there we go. See how that's all the way in now? Oh, I should probably not do that. There's a lot of sand up there. Okay. Now we're gonna pull this way. Make sure it goes all the way to the nut. And then we're going to take this one and we're going to go this way. All the way like that. Alright, we're going to just tap this guy back on. Put the lug nuts back on, we'll be all done. Alright guys, well that's it. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, check out these videos. That one's kind of cool. I like that one. That one's cool too. That one's my favorite.